Welcome to the AppSync 3.0 demo of VPLEX integration. First, we'll take a look and show you what the storage infrastructure looks like. As you can see, we have an XtremIO and two VPLEXs. In this case, we're set up as a VPLEX Metro, but you can also use VPLEX Local for this functionality. Now we'll take a look at the service plans and show you how to go ahead and configure it. As you can see, I've already configured it up a VPLEX service plan for Microsoft SQL Server. And what we're going to go ahead and do here is we'll look at create local copy, because that's where most of what we're trying to do is set up. So one of the things you can do is you can set up for storage options. What am I going to go ahead and do? And I'll go ahead and click on storage options here, and you'll see you can preference a cluster. So in this case, I have a VPLEX Metro, so I have two VPLEX clusters. You can choose which cluster you want to go ahead and take a snap from. And additionally, if you have a mirrored volume in the VPLEX, you can choose off of which leg you go ahead and take that that snapshot off as well. But in this case, you can see I just have a single storage array connected to it, so I only have one option, which is the XtremIO. Additionally, in the service plan, we have a choice of mount copy. And you'll notice that in 3.0 there is a new option here. It says VPLEX mount option, and it's set a couple different ways. It's set up as, right now I have it set up as VPLEX virtual volume, which means the snapshot will be presented through the VPLEX, but you can also do a mount option from the native array volume, meaning able to go ahead and present it not through the VPLEX, but directly from, in this case, the XtremIO to the mount host. So let's go off and actually do execute a service plan. So we'll go in here, go to Copy Management, choose SQL Server, and you notice here in this case I have two SQL Server instances. The first is production, and we're going to go ahead and make a copy of that and mount it up to the mount host, the DR mount host. So we'll go ahead and click in here. We'll choose the user databases. I just have a single user database called AdventureWorks 2014. And you can see here I have a couple copies already set up. I have it set up so that every 4 hours I make a copy. And you can see that that I do have a copy here from 8 in the morning mounted on my mount host. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is say, all right, I'm going to go ahead and make another copy. We'll make a copy using the plan VPLEX. And now the system will go ahead and execute things. As in previous versions of AppSync, there are a number of different steps that it goes through. So in this case, it's discovered the application storage to see if things have changed. It'll map it. In this case, this is all a virtualized configuration using ESX 5.5, and it will go ahead and map where everything maps to, right? So from the guest to the VMFS down to the storage volume itself, figure out what storage array it's attached to, and then proceed. The next step it'll do after that is it'll protect the application, so it'll go ahead and make a snapshot in this case. It will then, because I have a snapshot mounted, it will unmount the previous copy. It will then remount the new snapshot, and then in this case I've asked it to run a database recovery, so it will go ahead and do that. So this is going to, while this proceeds through here, I'm going to go ahead and show you one that is already completed in the interest of time. So I'm going to click over here to the VPLEX service plan, and you can see events. Here are the ones that have run recently. So for example, we'll look at the one most recently ran here about 8 in the morning, so about an hour and a half ago. In this case, you can see it's going ahead and running through the process. So we'll start at the top, start at the bottom here, and show you. All right. So the first thing it did is it discovered the application. It then mapped it. So and we went through there. The next thing we do is we make a local copy. So you notice there's a few more things that are happening here, right? So what we're first doing is where we created a local copy, it figured out where it was mapped to, it started a backup of it, it did used VSS, so in this case I've chosen to have it use VSS. I went ahead and created the snapshot, I did the backup, I thawed the application. Then you notice we created our XtremIO snapshot here as well. We renamed the snapshot so that it makes something useful to us. We expired any copies, right? So for example, there are old copies that were expired, because in this case I had asked for it to keep 4 copies of it. I removed that old snapshot, and then now we're to the next point. So now we're going to take that copy, and we're going from the bottom here. Scroll down, kind of show you the process that it worked. It unmounted the copy, so starting that copy. It unmounted from the mount host. It removed the file. It removed the database, so it talked to the SQL Server, took care of that. I don't have a specific shutdown script, but one of the things you can do in AppSync is go ahead and say, all right, there are things I want to do that AppSync isn't built in to do. There's processes I want to run. We do have periods of time where you can go ahead and use those scripts to go ahead and do things. For example, this is an example of one. We unmounted the file system. We made it inaccessible to the mount host, so we went ahead and unmasked it in this case. We detached the SCSI LUN on both of my ESX clusters. So this isn't just a single ESX host. I actually have an ESX cluster running here. We went ahead and did that. We unmasked it from the VPLEX layer because I was doing it through the VPLEX. We destroyed the VPLEX virtual volumes. And let me kind of scroll up here. And then I removed my snapshot here, and then rescanned the host so that it loses knowledge of the volume that is no longer in place. So now that I've done that, I'm ready to go ahead and mount back. So in this case, I went ahead and mounted. We made the storage accessible. So in this case, we're going to go through a VPLEX virtual volume. So it's going ahead first and masking from the XtremIO to the VPLEX. It is then going ahead and making sure that the VPLEX can see those volumes. It created a VPLEX virtual volume. It added the virtual volume to the storage view so that the ESX host could see it. It then rescanned here, as you can see, on the 2 ESX clusters, the 2 ESX hosts, the environment, and then we mounted the VMFS, so it automatically took care of that. It hot added the disk to the virtual machine, and then we went ahead and mounted the file system, the file systems up, and then at that point we've completed the mount up to the virtual machine. And in this case, I actually asked it to recover the database. So it actually will recover the database and make it useful and accessible on the mount host. And as you can see, I manually triggered this for you, but it also ran every 4 hours as well. This concludes the brief demo of AppSync 3.0 integration with VPLEX and XtremIO.